Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I am Chiwete Onyema. The top stories this hour. Nigeria's president faces backlash over foreign student scholarship scheme. Opposition coalition to formally unveil ADC party interim ESCO on Wednesday. U.S. President Trump urges Hamas to accept 60-day Gaza ceasefire deal. Details shortly. We begin with politics, where the opposition coalition will formally adopt the African Democratic Congress, ADC, as its political platform and unveil its interim leadership on Wednesday in Abuja. Former Nigerian Senate President David Mark and ex-Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola have been appointed interim chairman and secretary, respectively, of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. The appointments were confirmed following a high-level opposition meeting in Abuja on Tuesday night. A former sports minister, Bolaji Abdullahi, was also named interim national publicity secretary. The ADC has been adopted as the coalition platform by key opposition figures, including Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Nasir El-Rufai, to challenge President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the 2027 elections. In the meantime, prominent leaders of the People's Democratic Party are raising alarm over what they describe as the deepening crisis within the party and the nation. Meeting in Abuja on Tuesday, the group decried internal instability caused by poor leadership, disregard for the party's constitution, and interference from the ruling All Progressives Congress. Describing Nigeria as a nation in distress, leaders of the PDP say the time has come for genuine patriots to forge a new path toward national salvation. The leaders also accused the APC-led federal government of economic mismanagement, worsening insecurity, and steady erosion of democratic values. In response, they resolved to support a coalition of like-minded political actors committed to unity, accountability, and credible elections in 2027. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said that it would issue a supplementary regulation to clarify the review process for election results under Section 65 of the Electoral Act of 2022. The Commission stated that its intervention became necessary due to growing concerns over conflicting interpretations of the provision. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu disclosed this on Tuesday during the second quarterly consultative meeting with resident electoral commissioners REX at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. This move comes as the Commission prepares to conduct 5 major elections within the next year. Away from politics, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has faced criticism for offering scholarships to students from St. Lucia and other Caribbean countries to study in Nigerian universities. President Tinubu has announced that a scholarship program for students from the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, to study Nigerian universities will commence in the next academic year. Speaking earlier on the news, an education consultant and policy analyst, Professor Yomi Fawemi, argued this move is ill-timed given the country's severe education crisis. Professor Fawemi said the president should prioritize fixing Nigeria's education system instead of extending scholarships abroad.
If we really want to, I personally feel that announcement was just a feel-good gesture announcement. For one, is that the St. Lucians asked for a scholarship scheme from Nigeria. No, we did not hear that from their speech. It was the president that made the request. So for me, I think it's an economic thing. 200,000 people. And remember, St. Lucia has, I think, 4 universities. Some records show 3, some records show 4. So they are not, they have enough. When you think about 200,000, you're talking about a population less than Ekpe or less than a part of Ikeja, and there are 34 universities. So universities is not their problem. So maybe the president just wonders, what can I announce that will make St. Lucians happy and respect me for that and applaud me for that. But I don't know which St. Lucian will be coming to Nigeria because of this scholarship. I also wonder the contradiction. The president announcing that, I was wondering, what is he really talking about? Because if you check our educational sector, in April this year, The federal government of Nigeria announced the cancellation of the bilateral scholarship programs that many Nigerians are benefited from. And maybe more contradictory is the fact that, so which university are they coming to? Just a couple of days back, or today or yesterday, the ASU gave a warning that they could go on strike. Is that where you're giving scholarship to? And universities are cash grab. And perhaps maybe the most annoying of the contradiction, if I'll talk about the three contradictions I see in the announcement, is that public primary schools in Federal Capital Territory have been on strike for over 3 months. That's where the president lives. That's where the Minister for Education lives. That's where the Minister of Health lives. That's where the Chief Justice of Nigeria lives. That's where the Senate President, the House of Reps Speaker live. They have been on strike for almost a month over money. You didn't solve the problem in Abuja. You're going to announce scholarship for St. Lucia's resident. It looks pretty ridiculous. And what's all of this about?
The Senate on Tuesday confirmed 2 nominees for the Nigerian Law Reform Commission following the presentation of committee report, even as 1 nominee declined her appointment. It also debated and passed for second reading a bill seeking the establishment of a Federal University of Technology in Udupani, Cross River State. News Central's Sagir Ibrahim reports.
Plenary began with the confirmation of appointments into the Nigerian Law Reform Commission, where 2 out of 3 nominees scaled the Senate's approval.
The committee, after the screening exercise, deliberated on the nominees' suitability for appointment as chairman and full-time commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission, and hereby makes the following observations and findings. That the appointments of the nominees satisfy the requirements of Section 2, subsection 1 and 2 of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission Act 2022 and the Senate Standing Orders of 2023.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, praised the work of the Judiciary Committee and confirmed the appointment as recommended.
Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Professor Dakas C.J. Dakas, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, representing North Central, for appointment as Chairman of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission? Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Uchenna Eugene Okulucha, representing South-South, for appointment as Commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Next up is the bill seeking to amend the Federal Universities of Technology Act to create a new institution in Odukpani, Cross River State.
This Federal University of Technology in Odukpani will not only bridge the educational gap in our region, but also serve as a vital incubator for innovation, particularly in emerging sectors like fintech, which is one of the fastest growing industries in Nigeria today.
Technology is the most veritable tool that can be deployed to leapfrog our economic development.
To provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Technology Odukpani in Cross River State and for other related matters, 2025.
The bill was then referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education for further legislative action. Meanwhile, the Senate also postponed the Northwest Zonal public hearing on the review of the 1999 Constitution, scheduled for July 5th in Kano State. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, says the postponement is in honor of Alhaji Aminu Dantata, billionaire businessman and philanthropist who died on Sunday, June 30th.
The Senate resolved to observe 1 minute silence in honor of the late Alhaji Aminu Dantata, and also resolved to postpone the Zonal Constitutional Conference of the Northwest to a date to be mutually agreed between the stakeholders of the Northwest as soon as the Deputy Senate President is back from Saudi Arabia.
Akpabio explained that the public hearing will take place in the remaining 5 geopolitical zones in the capital cities of Borno, Plateau, Enugu, Akwa Ibom, and Lagos as their respective locations. In Abuja for News Central, Sakir Ibrahim.
Residents of Kano have continued to shower encomiums on the late Aminu Dantata, who passed away on June 29, 2025 at the age of 94. Speaking to News Central's crew in the Kano State capital, The respondents described the late Dantata as a very influential businessman, philanthropist, and elder statesman who epitomized resilience and tenacity on enterprise leadership with an unwavering commitment to national development. News Central's correspondent Emmanuel Bagudu completes the report.
Musk, Benji, Kano, to Medina in Mecca. Friends, family, and sympathizers have come together to mourn the passing of Nigeria's legendary trader who built one of Africa's business dynasties, employing thousands of people. Late Aminu Dantata's legacies, according to the residents of Kano, will forever endure as they remain conspicuous in politics, business, philanthropy, and morality.
Ya gina mutane shekara 94 ba karamin doguwar tafiya akai ba.
Alhaji Aminu Dantata Allah ya ji kansa, Allah ya masa rahama kuma Allah shi gafarta masa. Domin mutum ne wanda yake bewa duniya tallafi ba ma jihar Kano ba ma da aka haife shi.
Researcher and teacher of Northern history, Mukhtar Aminu, provides instances of the various legacies of the late elder statesman.
Alhaji Aminu Dantata always is looking at where he was looking at which angle to chip in and uplift the status of the people. He was a politician. When the politics was pure, he was a parliamentarian under NPC before even in the 60s. Before then, he was a business tycoon because he started from scratch.
He adds that late Dantata lived a life worthy of emulation, which has indeed placed his footprint in the sands of time.
When the grandfather of Alhaji Aliko Dangote, his brother Sanusi Dantata, he was taken to Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital, then suffering from heart failure, kidney failure. So he died as a result of no adequate dialysis machines. So Aminu Dantata was motivated about that. He was worried about it. So he had to buy dialysis machines for the first time in the history of Kano for Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital and Nasarawa Hospital.
Away from business and politics, Dantata equally played a critical role in the civil service, where he served as Commissioner for Planning and Development under the ex-governor Audu Bako's administration in Kano State between 1967 and 1972. He had also offered counsels to many administrations in Nigeria, including that of the immediate past president, Muhammadu Buhari, and the current administration of President Bola Tinubu. In Kano for News Central, Emmanuel Bagudu.
The House of Representatives has called on the federal government to act swiftly to avert possible sanctions over the non-remittance of Nigeria's financial contributions to the Secretariat of the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States. This alongside motions addressing bandits' attacks, gully erosions, and the consideration of multiple legislative proposals shapes deliberations at Tuesday's plenary. News Central's Idong Joseph brings details from the Green Chamber.
An announcement coming from Honorable Isa Mohammed Anka.
The week's plenary began with announcements and the presentation of petitions, including one from a coalition of civil society organizations seeking a probe into an alleged contract scam, and another from Okori Nnamdi on the non-implementation of a Supreme Court judgment.
Mr. Speaker, this is a coalition by civil service society organization call for urgent investigation into alleged multi-billion contract scam, massive official corruption, diversion of public funds, contract splitting, and ceding of police barracks to cronies. Mr. Speaker, this letter is addressed to you, and the prayers are well engrafted here.
Through motions of urgent public importance, the House urged the federal government to take decisive action against rising cases of banditry in parts of Niger and Kwara states. Lawmakers also demanded immediate settlement of Nigeria's outstanding contribution to the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States to forestall international embarrassments.
House is aware that a tomorrow Patigi local government area share boundary with Kogi, Niger State, both which have had their bitter experience with armed banditry and kidnapping for ransom. House is also informed of the very recent introduction of banditry and kidnapping activities to Edu and Patigi local government area of Kwara State.
Also aware that according to available records, Nigeria's cumulative assessed contribution to the OACPS stands at 1,119,979 euros, 86 cents.
The day's legislative work continued with the consideration of 10 bills for the establishment of new educational and health institutions. 6 progressed to the third reading, while 4 skilled the third reading. The House also passed motions requesting INEC to create additional state constituencies in Ndokwa East, Ndokwa West, and Uwani in Delta states. A separate resolution addressed the urgent need for erosion control in Mashi, Dotsi Federal Constituency of Katsina State. Shortly after, the House resolved into the Committee of the Whole to adopt reports from its Committee on University Education and Health Institutions. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
Joint security outfit arrests 3 suspected castle rustlers in Abia. We'll bring you details of this and more when we return. Join us again. Many thanks for staying with us. And now to security matters. 3 suspected cattle rustlers have been arrested and paraded in Umuahia. The security advisor to Governor Alex Oti, MacDonald Uba, during the parade, said the joint security team acted on intelligence on the planned rustling and thereby prevented what would have been a huge security issue. Also, the leader of the northern community in the southeast zone, who is also resident in Abia State, Danladi Taro, said the arrest was made possible because of the collaboration between the farmers, herders, and security agencies in the state.
So these rustlers were caught in our here. Rustling cattle they had already arranged for the buyers from their fellow Fulani herdsmen. Part of their action would have meant disaster for the citizens of that Ohia community, if not for the swift action of Operation Crush.
I want to live in peace. I want to live in peace with the host community. Without seeing these people yesterday, everything, you know, the Ohia community would have been in a mess. So I thank God for this thing. I was with the people that arrested.
Elsewhere, youth from Ogoni communities in Rivers State stormed Port Harcourt, the state capital, in protest against alleged attacks and killings by suspected herdsmen. The demonstrators, under the banner of the South-South Youth Initiative, marched through major streets and converged on the Rivers State Police Command headquarters as they presented a formal petition calling for decisive security measures. The convener, Savior Oscar, expresses deep concern over perceived inaction of law enforcement agencies in addressing the alleged killings.
I want to express my displeasure. One of my displeasure is, yesterday, we received a call on Sunday that because of the signal of this protest, that the Commissioner of Police will want to talk to us or want to address us. We received that call from the OC or the 2YC SIB. The 2YC SIB. When we came to honor that invitation, what the OC SIB informed us was that we should go home and dialogue with our killers. What the SIB, OC SIB informed us is that we should go home and go for dialogue that He has been calling the headsman, the chairman of the flooding headsmen, and that they have not been able to get him, and that we should not go ahead and do any protest.
Good afternoon, great Ogoni people. My name is Al-Hassan Kawe. I'm a Deputy Commissioner of Police. Personally, the Commissioner of Police is supposed to have been here to address you people, but just as the OCS ID told you yesterday, not that he wasn't ready to talk to you, but because of other important commitments as yours. So that was why even today he's somewhere along Igirita Road attending to some other important matters. My Commissioner of Police has been very, very serious with the issue of herdsmen and the community where they live. I've been a witness to several meetings he has held with them. And on several occasions, he encouraged the various DPOs and area commanders to have a stakeholder meeting with them in order to come out with a solution to all these crises we've been having. I am very sure, and I assure you, that you will never joke with your request, and I am sure he's going to take a very drastic decision on this and ensure that this menace comes to an end.
In Lagos, the State Police Command has called on school proprietors across the state to promptly report any suspicious activity as part of its renewed efforts to safeguard educational institutions from emerging security threats. The State Commissioner of Police, Elon said this at the unveiling of Schools Protection Squad in Ikeja. News Central Victor Mbadike has more.
Have become soft targets for attacks by criminals across the country, leading to the closure of these schools, consequently denying them of learning. These growing threats have necessitated the urgent need for practical and proactive measures to protect the educational sector. In response, the Nigerian Police Force has introduced the Schools Protection Squad, a special initiative aimed at preventing attacks and enhancing the safety of students and educators. In Lagos, stakeholders gathered at a forum in Ikeja to discuss the initiative.
School insecurity is not only a breach of the right to education, it is a discrete threat to global peace and human capital development. It challenges the international commitment to Sustainable Development Goal 4 SDG, ensuring quality education, and Goal 16, promoting peace, justice, and strong institutions. I urge our schools, parents, and community leaders and communities to work in consonance with the security agencies as we champion the cause of security, safety, and well-being of our children.
These policies, programs...
According to Global Coalition to Protect Education from Attack, over 5,000 attacks were recorded on schools between 2020 and 2022, affecting more than 22,000 individuals and disrupted the right to education across 28 countries. The Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Elon, consequently emphasized on the need for vigilance and cooperation.
To the students and pupils here today, you are our heartbeat and the heartbeat of this initiative. Your education is our priorities, and your safety is our obligations and mission. I encourage you to stay vigilant, report suspicious activities, and participate in safety programs in the schools and at home. Your voices matters, and we are here to protect you.
The IGP also announced that training programs will be rolled out for educators, school administrators, and security staff to equip them with the skills to recognize, report, and respond effectively to potential concerns. In Lagos for News Central TV, Victor Mbadike.
Now, despite being richly endowed with oil, gas, and solar resources, Nigeria still grapples with significant energy poverty. Industry experts at the ministerial session of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Energy Week in Abuja say bridging this gap will require stronger policy, frameworks, enhanced collaboration, and alignment on geopolitical fronts to ensure a just and inclusive energy transition. News Central's correspondent Aishat Salihu has the details.
Focused on securing Nigeria's energy future, highlighting current production levels at 1.745 million barrels of crude oil per day, with targets set to hit 2 million barrels per day by the end of 2025. Nigeria also boasts of over 200 trillion cubic feet of proven natural gas reserves. Stakeholders emphasize the growing role of indigenous oil companies, especially as international oil firms shift to offshore operations.
We are committed to national development. Our mandate remains rooted in 3 pillars: ensuring energy security, enabling economic growth, and creating long-term value for the country. And critically, we see ourselves not only as participants in the energy transition, but as leaders.
We have increased production by 300,000 barrels. That shows that we have indigenous capacity. We have value retention in the country. But for us to sustain this momentum, we need to also sustain our program of capacity building. And this is where PTDF is very strategic, NCDM is very strategic, other PTI and other agencies are very strategic.
Attention also turned to Nigeria's heavy reliance on unclean energy sources and the broader implications for climate change. Experts stressed the urgent need for clean, accessible and affordable energy for all Nigerians.
But what I have studied within the system is that we have investors that are ready to invest into the sector. But the evacuation has been a very big hindrance. Today, the GCEO has talked about the Niger crossing, which will boost production of gas from the Niger Delta region, evacuation into the gas pipeline. And beyond that, when the AKK is completed, we will have it channeling gas to the northern part of the country.
As the oil and gas industry leaders take the charge on repositioning Nigeria's place in the energy sector to be at par with global standards while meeting local and regional needs, there are calls on the service industry to return to the country where there is a conducive business environment for a healthy competition with opportunities to foster better collaboration and bridge the energy gaps. In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
The World Bank has restated its commitment to supporting programs that will boost the world's economy, with special interventions in the areas of agriculture, business, and other spheres of human endeavors. This intervention was witnessed in Plateau State, north-central Nigeria, for the 3rd-year program of the State Action and Business Enabling Reforms, organized by the Presidential Enabling Business Environmental Council, PEBEC. News Central's Chizoba Anionwe tells us more.
The State Action on Business Enabling Reforms, in its 3rd year of operation, organized by the Director General of PEBEC, running for the 9th year, seeks to provide an enabling environment for private businesses to thrive. Speaking during a technical session at statewide town hall meeting after a courtesy call on the governor, represented by the Secretary of the Government of the state, Samuel Jato, at the Government House in Jos, the Plateau State capital, key stakeholders believe that the event would create a better avenue for private business owners to thrive.
The only thing we can do is put our financing and our technical assistance behind government programs. We're not implementing ourselves. It's PEBEC, it's NGF, it's Ministry of Finance, Debt Management Office at the federal levels and the states, and it's your different MDAs here in Plateau that are doing the real work of making it easier for you to do business.
We're here to look critically at what both the federal and the state could do to make things better and easier for businesses to thrive. We're here to listen to you. We're here to take your feedback, take your response back, and use that to formulate policies that we hope will definitely improve the business environment in Nigeria and help you guys flourish in your respective fields.
The policies at the federal will impact on what is happening at the subnational level. So what the federal government is doing, we we're happy about it because we're going to make a lot of things easier for our small businesses here. But we have quite a number of very serious small businesses on the plateau that have great potential for growth and development.
Contributing their concerns at the statewide town hall meeting, these private business owners believe the program will bring about positive change.
What government is doing now, trying to get tax under one big umbrella so that we're not having all this multiple taxation, so that would really help. That is another problem that we face, so it drives up manufacturing costs.
One of the areas that is actually giving us issue is the road. If government can just, even if it is 85% of the road, if they can just fix it, it will go a long way in alleviating kind of challenges we are facing.
It's one thing to make a policy, it's another thing to implement the policy, and another thing again to sustain it. So if this is sustained, it's going to go a long way of bringing out many business people out of the woods.
Noting the depleting economy in Nigeria and the challenges experienced by the private sector achieving their targets in business, all eyes will now remain on World Bank and PEBEC for a positive turn. In Plateau State, for News Central, Chizoba Aniuri.
Residents of Dakibiu district in the Federal Capital Territory now have a smoother, faster and safer way to move around. The Vice President of Nigeria alongside the FCT Minister officially commissioned the newly constructed Collector Road CN8, also known as Asukwa Okon Street, linking Arterial Road N5 Obafemi Awolowo Street to Arterial Road N1, along with other adjacent roads in the area. News Central's Sumaya Abubakar reports.
The newly completed road infrastructure is expected to decongest traffic in the area, enhance connectivity between major arterial routes, and support real estate growth in Dakibiu. Officials say it's another step in the broader plan to provide quality infrastructure across the FCT.
A modern city inspires confidence, attracts investment, and most importantly, restores the dignity of those who call it home. That is why today's occasion is not just about commissioning a road. It is a grand reassurance that cities must work for their people and that a functioning capital is the foundation upon which a functioning nation is built.
Your Excellency, you can't believe that as a city, we could have such terrible, horrible roads. And to the Federal Council, by our support, this contract was awarded last year, September, and we flagged it up October last year. Today, we are commissioning it.
For residents, the new roads come as a relief from years of rough routes, limited access, and daily traffic bottlenecks.
Before now, we suffered because of the road. The bad road caused a lot of accidents, and the government decided to construct it for us. We are happy about it.
We are really happy. We have been living here for almost 20 years. We have never experienced this type of development.
Authorities say more communities across the FCT will benefit from similar projects aimed at connecting people, easing movement, and boosting development. In Abuja, for News Central, Sumaya Abubakar.
United States Consulate in Lagos has hosted a reception to mark the 249th anniversary of American independence. The events brought together a cross-section of Nigeria's political, diplomatic, and cultural community, with emphasis on strengthening the long-standing partnership between both nations. News Central's Sewese Anyo has the details.
It was an evening of diplomacy and celebration at the residence of the U.S. Consul General in Ikoyi, Lagos. The acting U.S. Consul General, Jolin Gowak, hosted the reception in honor of America's 249th Independence Day, using the occasion to highlight the enduring relationship between the United States and Nigeria.
It's a pleasure to see the amazing group of people who are here to celebrate with us. 76 every 4th of July across the United States, millions of Americans reflect on the values that have defined us: freedom, excellence, and opportunity. These ideals fuel not only our national spirit, but they underpin our international relations.
The event drew together a diverse group of attendees, including government officials, diplomats, Nollywood actors, influencers, business leaders, and members of civil society.
Even as we look forward to this major milestone, and as we celebrate this year's anniversary, we have the opportunity today to reflect on the journey of nationhood, both for the United States and Nigeria, and a chance to reflect on our shared ideas of democracy, on our freedom, on our striving for enduring peace and prosperity for our people, and even in the face of many odds.
There's so much synergy between both nations, and that's what we're here to celebrate. Our cultures, our diversity, as it were, and the things that we have in common.
Guests described the reception as a demonstration of goodwill between the two nations, noting the relevance of collaboration in areas such as commerce, democratic development, and innovation.
Today exemplifies what the relationship between Nigeria and the U.S. represents. That of friendship, that of partnership, that of prosperity, and that of increased commercial ties.
We must develop a strong quest for trade justice with the Western nations of the world. We produce so much that we export, but we want to keep the export process and the value chain mostly in Africa, mostly in Nigeria. With what President Tinubu has built and is building, the coastal road, it allows for a huge expansion of the export process and export development.
The Lagos celebration served as a reminder of the importance of international partnerships in tackling global challenges and fostering a more connected future. In Lagos, for News Central, CWC Anyo.
Coming up, France returns military base to Senegal. We'll tell you more after the break. Many thanks for staying with us. We now go outside Nigeria. France has handed over to Senegal a military base used by its army as part of a broader withdrawal of French troops from the West African country. Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye announced last year that former colonial power France would have to close its military bases in Senegal by 2025, a process that began in March with the first handovers to Senegalese authorities. The French embassy in Senegal, in a statement, confirmed on Tuesday that the country returned a military communications center located in Rufisque near Dakar. Earlier, we were joined by an international affairs analyst, Paul Ejime, on the news.
That is a continuation of what you call the anti-French sentiment in West Africa, or former colonies in Africa, given the event of the coup from 2020 and from 2022. You remember the three countries that have pulled out of ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. And they were accusing ECOWAS of being teleguided, and but perhaps notably by France. And they are saying now they don't want to have anything to do with the colonial past. They have already expelled French troops from their countries, and Chad had also done that, Chad, which is in Central Africa. And Senegal and Côte d'Ivoire in the ECOWAS, as members of ECOWAS, have also followed, are following that trend, that example, because I think France is not waiting to be to have these troops expelled, like facing the humiliation of from these three countries. So they are doing it, you know, in a way that to save face, as it were.
In Southern Africa, we now bring you a story that highlights the harsh realities faced by many children caught in the circle of poverty and social hardships. Behind the bright lights and bustling streets of Johannesburg, innocent childhoods are being stolen by circumstances beyond their control. News Central's Bongani Siziba takes us to the streets of Johannesburg, where children are in the shadows of exploitation.
In the heart of Johannesburg, forgotten corners, behind crumbling walls and dark corridors, live children whose childhood have been stolen by poverty. This is a reality, a life marked by struggle, hardships, and loss of innocence. Meet Dylan and Darren, two boys from Zimbabwe. Their mother came to South Africa seeking for a better life, but instead she found herself trapped in a cycle of struggles alongside countless women fighting for survival. Every morning, their mother wakes up, taking them to busy street corners to beg, a daily routine and harsh reality that has robbed them of their rights, childhood, and education.
Every day I bring them here so that I can get food, I can get clothes for them to wear. That's what I'm getting every day, my sister. Even per day I can get even 20 rand.
These busy streets corners have become a painful reality for children that have lost their childhood, stolen, forced to beg, their innocence replaced with demands for coins and food.
Every child has a right to learn, to grow, and to be protected, yet many of these kids are denied access to schools, their future exploited for immediate survival.
Tinouya parobot tinoshupika, tinouya parobot tichikumbira mama wana mari, isusu hatiendi kuchikoro, tinongogara tiri panapo parobot tichikumbira mari, vamwe vanoenda kuchikoro ine handiendi kuchikoro, zvinondirwadza kuti ndisingaendi kuchikoro.
Their story is just one among many children alike. It's a heartbreaking reality that needs urgent attention.
I don't like to come here to beg because my age mates are going to school and I don't go to school and it hurts me so badly. And I'm looking for someone who could like to help me, to take me to school and give me a better education and buy for me food and get us a better shelter, because if I beg today and I don't get food, I will never eat today.
The presence of foreign women and children in these begging activities raises questions about wider social and economic issues, including poverty, lack of access to social services, and immigration challenges.
As social workers, there's nothing much that we can do. Remember, we cannot go to them, tell them that we want to help them. If somebody doesn't come to us asking for help, we cannot help them. They first have to take the initiative to say they want to be helped. Do you understand? Then that's when we can help them.
Behind every child at these traffic lights is a story of hope, loss, and resilience. But their childhood shouldn't be spent chasing coins. They deserve the chance to just be kids. Their hope for a better future remains distant, highlighting the urgent need for social support, education access, and policies that protects the rights of children regardless of their background.
Today, I am here begging on the streets just like a street kid, and I don't like it because it hurts me so much.
Beyond immediate hardship, these children face a future limited by loss of opportunities, poor health, and trauma of exploitation. They need a world that can stand up for their rights to ensure that they are free to learn, to dream, and enjoy a childhood, because no child should grow up in the shadows of exploitation. In South Africa, Johannesburg, for News Central, Bongani Siziba.
Now, the U.S. President Donald Trump has announced that Israel has agreed to the necessary terms for a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza. He urged Hamas to accept the proposal, warning that the situation would worsen if they refused. Representatives from Qatar and Egypt are expected to deliver the final ceasefire proposal to Hamas. This announcement comes ahead of Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's planned visit to Washington for talks. Trump has been pressing both sides to negotiate a ceasefire and secure the release of hostages amid the ongoing conflict. The deal aims to pause hostilities and work towards ending the war in Gaza, though Hamas has yet to respond to the proposal. The Republican-led U.S. Senate has approved Donald Trump's flagship spending bill after a marathon voting session on the deeply unpopular package set to slash social welfare programs and add an eye-watering $3 trillion to the national debt. The sprawling text, headlined by a $4.5 trillion renewal of the president's first-term tax cuts, now heads to the House of Representatives. It faces unified Democratic opposition in the lower chamber and multiple Republicans balking at deep cuts to health care, green energy subsidies, and food aid programs for the poor. Reacting to the approval, President Trump describes the development as music to his ears.
You know, I'm waiting, listening to these wonderful words, and they are music to my ears, but I was also wondering how we're doing, because I know this is prime time. It shows that I care about you because I'm here and I probably should be there.
And that's all at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Nigeria's president has faced backlash over foreign students' scholarship scheme. Opposition coalition will formally unveil ADC party and interim ESCO on Wednesday. We also told you that U.S. President Trump has urged Hamas to accept 60-day Gaza ceasefire deal. Remember, you may send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screen, and also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, and on Avo TV and on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Chiwete Onyema.